there's the last groups. All right. Now we're going to start recording again. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. So just getting back to the agenda, want to clear up a little bit. We're not going to do Jamboard right now. That was just some foreshadowing I, did for the future in the agenda. So that moment for you all to come together was to get you warmed up in conversation and create community. So what we're going to do now is transition to the next part of our agenda where we hear from experts in the field who are doing this work. And so for this part, I'm going to turn it over to Karen so she can introduce our guests.
Hi, everyone. It is my pleasure to get to introduce the amazing leaders of QUIP. So today with us, we have Adrienne Briggs and Diane Gardner. Adrienne and Diane are both family childcare providers and the leaders of the QUIP network, which stands for Quality Influential Professionals. I will let them give you much more detail about their network, but essentially it's a long-standing provider-led network that has had some amazing developments in the past few years, including a sizable grant from the William Penn Foundation to fund some of their work, a lot of which centers around supporting the well-being of providers, so aligned to Benchmark D. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the slides. And I think, Adrienne, am I handing it over to you first?
Either or. We're both ready.
All right. Whoever wants to go first.
President.
Madam President. All right. Of course, you heard my name again. Yeah, I'm Diane Gardner. I am the president of Quality Influential Professionals, where we uplifting early childhood educators. I want to thank everyone, Homegrown, for inviting us to come and share our experiences and our challenges, and not only challenges, but our great challenge in working and doing more than we ever dreamed when we started this project. So it has been an amazing journey, and it's still continuing to be an amazing journey. Next slide, please.
Okay, wait a minute. Wait.
Oh, sorry.
Not too fast, Missy.
She has to slow me down because I go real fast. Yes, I'm sorry.
And I am Adrienne Briggs, the Vice President of Quality Influential Professionals. And we are honored to be here today. And thank you for this invitation. And hopefully we can be helpful in your process. Okay, now we can go next. And don't pay us any attention. This is how we manage.
Okay. This is our next slide. Okay. QIP became independently orchestrated by providers approximately 9 years ago. But just to give you a little background, before 9 years ago, we've been in a family gathering settings for over 20-something years. It went from being in a learning circle, a DeVacy. I don't know if any of you are familiar with DeVacy, but all of those entities, as we all know, when funding leaves, so does the titles and so forth. But now we have become our own independency after approximately 9 years working with providers. We are a networking group of providers that meet monthly to share resources, assist providers in maintaining quality through regulations, trainings, and updates in the ECE field. We invite guests from different organizations, such as you did today, inviting us. We have stakeholders to inform providers about advocacy, opportunities, business skills, updated trainings, and new childcare innovations. We provide peer support as needed, emotional, technical, and etc. Next slide. QIP and the Triage Project. We've talked a lot about QIP, but this gives you a little bit more what we've done lately. Under the title of QIP is that, as we have stated, I am the president and owner of iDots Childcare Services. Adrienne, my vice president, owner of Little Bits Family Childcare Home, the network of more than 80 licensed home-based providers in Philadelphia and the surrounding areas. Founder, as I said before, 20 years ago. Now in 2022, we became our own independent 501c3. Adrian, you want to take over yours?
Yep. Okay, and after we received the funding from William Penn, well, before we received the funding, we came up with the triage idea, which is teach, restore, influence, advance, gather, and empower. And we were able to get the funding to be able to help the providers in these areas. We want to strengthen them and support them and help them become stabilized or restabilized. And I have a little partner over here with me at this moment. So I don't know if you see her or not, but this is our reality.
Right.
This is our reality, and this is what providers are dealing with. They're, wearing many hats, multitasking and everything else. And a lot of providers just needed that restoration. They need that influence to be able to stay in the business. They need the gathering to be able to know that we are still humans. The majority of our time is spent in our business, so we just need that little extra nudge to remind us who we are, to be able to remember to do our own self-care. And because we're so busy taking care of everybody else, a lot of times providers forget to care for themselves. And we also want to empower them, to let them know that they are worthy of everything that they're doing, empower them to advocate for themselves, empower them to remember that they're business women. So I think we can go on to the next one.
Yeah, that has still to do with the survey to bring us up. We did a survey to support our triage mission, and a survey of 50 providers. And then our findings were identify the key risk factors that typically lead to closures of the Philadelphia home-based providers in early learning programs. 78% long hours, lack of flexibility. 63% insufficient income. 57% demands of the business. As you can see, we on Zoom, taking care of little ones. So that's all part because we want to stay up to date on what's going on in the field. And sometimes we have to do dual roles. 54% is low enrollment. 39% lack of benefits. And I know you ladies can all, and gentlemen, I'm sorry, to attest that there is a lack in benefits of providers having health care and just the things that we need to be keeping our bodies up to par in dealing with little ones. Next slide. 34% of providers who have been caring for children for more than 20 years have considered closing or already have closed. Whereas just 8% of providers who have been in business for less than 10 years are considering closing. New providers represented just 18% of survey respondents, while 82% of survey respondents have been in business for 10 or more years. This list of risk factors will be used to select 30 home-based providers, 15 annually, considering the risk of programs closure to receive training and peer-based support from the triage outreach program that we will embark upon, and we're already in it. And we're just so excited that the response that we had a 101. We talked about the things that made them, some didn't want to be on, but we walked away feeling good that we were able to even encourage them that we are here for them and they're going to continue on in the project. Next slide.
Okay, and we're able to nurture the providers' well-being by reducing their stress from difficult working conditions and helping improve work life. And we do this, through our monthly meetings. They are able to call us. They're able to reach out to us. They know someone is here to have a listening ear for them. And we just have discussions on self-care. And we even have added a segment in our monthly meetings where we focus on that self-care and the mindfulness. And then we also send them resources in those areas to remind them of how to take care of themselves. We're creating personal connections and community to reduce burnout, because a lot of times when you feel like you're in something by yourself, it builds up the stress level. But then when you know you have somebody that you can call and bounce it off on, or know that that person understands your woes, it makes it a lot less stressful. You don't feel like you're isolating them by yourself anymore. We're creating a personal connect. Oh, I'm sorry. We're enjoying in-person events and gatherings. We have an annual barbecue. We do an annual gala where they can dress up and, you know, put their finery on and come out and celebrate one another. We give out awards during that time. And it's just a celebration of the profession. And then we also have different outings that we're doing now.
And just to piggyback on that, Karen can be a witness to our gala.
Yes.
Next slide. You want to continue?
Okay. And also we support the providers by providing them with resources and opportunities to advancement. We bring different people in to speak and provide them with different opportunities, anything we learn about where they can go in and do trainings, or if we find out about funding, because here in Pennsylvania we have a TEACH program which supplies them with financial assistance for going back to college. We also have a lot of CDA programs where they can go and get their CDA. So we just make sure they know all of that. The educators are becoming educated, because we know that, you know, in order to teach, you have to know yourself. So to educate, you have to be educated. We're engaging consultants to offer PD. We're getting we're looking at getting QIP PQI certified. So that's for the Pennsylvania state, so that they can get the credit hours for when they come to our meetings. They're not just coming there and being with us for the 2.5 hours. They want to also be able to get credit hours for that in the future. We're also working on creating more trainings at a higher level, because right now a lot of the trainers are level 2. It's very rare that you can find a level 3 training here. So we're working on providing level 3 trainings for the providers, because a lot of our providers are seasoned providers. And we are also, our main focus is to constantly provide encouragement, affirmations, and appreciation to the ones who take care of everyone else except themselves. And
Karen, do we have another one?
Mm-hmm.
Did you say next slide? Sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
I was like, oh
No problem.
I didn't know how many more was behind it. Just that's the conclusion of how we operate. We are open to questions, but even before I got on, I heard the young lady talking about taxes. We are in tax season as well. And Saturday we just had a tax season part 1 session. And it turned out so amazing. We actually had one of our bank's citizens that came on, and they're willing to work with our presenter to get us even more banking business services. So every time we do something wonderful, things happen to us that we connect, and that we don't have to like go and struggle. And we're grateful that, you know, somebody's coming to help us to do more. When you know better, you do better.
Yes, and the support has been phenomenal. Phenomenal. People are believing in us more than we even believe in ourselves. And with that, it's encouraging us to push even harder. And even with the providers, they're seeing how we're stepping out, and it's causing them to step out and step up even more so.
Thank you for your time. Back to Miss Karen or whoever.
Diane and Adrian for being in the field for so long and being innovators. It sounds like you noticed a gap and you got creative and put your heads together to address that gap. We really appreciate you sharing. We have time for questions. So does anybody have any questions that they want to ask our guests? Otherwise, I know Kelly and I have some as well. Well, I can certainly get us started, and hopefully that will spur some questions from our grantees. So one of the questions I had coming up was, how do you lean into other partners in the community to help you with wraparound supports? Could you talk a little bit about that, or any of those partnerships that you lean into so that you're not the ones having to provide at all and everything?
We were lucky enough to have relationships with a lot of our partners already. So once they saw us with this project, they jumped right in and are all on board. How can we help? What do you need? And it's just been wonderful.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Any questions from our group? Or Kelly, do you have any questions that you want to ask? Janae?
Sure. First of all, I mean, you guys are inspiring. This is pretty powerful to hear that you have your own network and that you're supporting others in the network. I guess I thought your data points, and I'm a data person, but I thought your data points were really powerful, and I'm hoping that we can get that particular slide, and if not all of the slides, just to think about more deeply. If this is really the pain points, how are we actually addressing them? But in terms of well-being, I would love to hear what a typical agenda looks like for your monthly meetings. I mean, you're asking folks to come for 2.5 hours. That's significant. Are you also what does the attendance look like? I mean, just give us a sense of that. What's your typical agenda? Like, do you have a structure to your agenda that causes people to come back? I'd love to hear what that is.
You want to take it or you want me to?
Don't matter.
Okay. Our typical meeting starts with meet and greet, of course, that's everybody. Then we have a PowerPoint presentation where it's broken down into happy birthday, self-care, doing an exercise, those types of things to get them engaged as they sign it in and putting all the data that we asked for. We asked for your name, address, and all of those type main questions. And then we have self-wellness. That's kind of like Adrian's part to a degree. She'll give them some, breathing techniques or whatever is on her mind at that time. She's very good at that part. And then a second part of our presentation would be things from the field, the different entities that we work with. They are not requested, but they can, if they're having an event that's business object business. No, that's not what I want to say. It pertains to your business. Like, say you want to do presentation on taxes, or even just a meet and greet. They're welcome to give us their flyer, and we will put it on our business, and they can copy it. And then we have educational. Some of our other partners, they will do that part on banking, on taxes, on I know I'm forgetting some of them. It's just a mass of presentation material, and they walk away with it. We don't just talk about it. They walk away with the slides, the email addresses, the contact people. All of this is given to them. So once they leave, and within, like, maybe I'll say 24 hours, we send them everything that we talked about. So it's be so jam-packed that sometimes you can't get through it all. But if you just heard it and say, oh, I don't remember what they said, no worries. You will get this PowerPoint. You get all the details. We only cut it short when we have a guest presenter. We want the presenter to have the full access of the time to give their points of view and have conversation. But anything, we will cut it short and not elaborate as much, but they still get PowerPoints every meeting. And it's consistent. It's always the second Saturday of the month. So that, and it's only, you'd be surprised how much they still be wanting a little bit more time sometimes. because it's only 9 to 11:30, so you only have the morning, the sleepy time, and you can do anything you want after that. But they just keep on asking another question like that, but it's all good.
And
Yeah.
also the way we keep them engaged is by finding out from them what it is they need. So we bring in people from licenses, we bring in people from the food programs. We also are partnered with our subsidy program. So she comes in every month and lets us know everything that's going on in the field in that area. It's also about, like I said, Diane was saying about the speakers. We bring in speakers every other month to speak specifically on a topic. But then we have other speakers that'll come in on a regular basis that'll focus on, like I said, the food program, licensing. One of the other people we're partnered with, they have meetings monthly that deal with different business aspects. So it keeps it 2.5 hours sounds like a lot. That time goes so fast because they're gaining so much, and they keep coming back. And we used to meet in person, but then when COVID happened, of course, we transferred over to being on Zoom, and it's been working. It's been working.
We average about 30 participants every week, every month. I'm sorry.
That's great. Well, thank you, Diane and Adrian, so much for sharing. And Karen, thank you again for connecting us. We were talking while you were in small groups. Maybe someday you as partners will be getting the call to go present at another state doing this. So thank you all so much. And you know, the big thing that I hear Adrian and Diane you saying is that you're providing follow through, consistency, predictability, you're understanding the people that you're working with for who they are as individuals and what their needs, and all of that just equals like relationship. And so I think that's why everything's falling in place for you, because it seems as though you've centered that relationship, which is what this benchmark is all about. So thank you so much. So we read your feedback, and you all were asking for a bio break because these are long meetings. So our long learning communities. So the next part of our agenda is just a quick little 4 or 5 minute bio break. And when we get back, that's when we're going to jump into the large group discussion and the jam board. So we'll go ahead and take a break. And Najwa, you got your hand up.
Sorry, I want to thank Diane and Adrian very much for sharing. I hope to connect with you, but there was a couple of questions on here in the chat that asking, are all the providers that attend are only English speaking? That's really interesting for all of us to know, because we know we deal with a lot of diverse providers. By any chance, can you give us some of that data? Do you have any bilingual providers, and how has that mix been with native English speaking? Because, you know, we all know it can be a challenge.
The majority of our providers are English speaking, but we do have a partner from it's not ELRC, our STARS program, our quality program, that will come in if we have any Hispanic providers on there to translate.
So I definitely am interested in connecting with you, because I'm all about partnerships, because we want, and I really appreciate ECIC for opening up the space for all of us to connect and network and be a support of each other's work, because we want to bring people that are, you know, that can speak to it. And it can be more than just translating. They can have that sense of belonging and community. And I think it would be really important for us to all connect with one another and be intentional. So I appreciate you. I look forward to connecting with you all and seeing how we can all continue to support each other's programs. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
There was one quick question, if you could give a brief answer on Adrian or Diane, is how are you communicating with your networks, with your network?
We have email, we have a whole platform website. We have a brand new website that shows you everything about us. Even if you say, I wonder what they do, you can go to the website. If Karen or Adrian can drop that in the box, they can look at that. So, and there's another area that we really was fortunate. Our website blew us away. That is so much on there, even about our day-to-day life, the regulations, if something changes, if somebody's having a flyer, event, all of that just keeps getting evolved. And did I answer all of that question? Because
don't forget the phone calls. They have our numbers. They
Yes.
call us. They call us and they call us.
Yes, they do call us. But it's a pleasure to help them, because when they walk away, they feel confident that they can do what they got on the phone stressed about, that we ease the stress for them, that they're welcome to call us anytime or just email us. And that way we can kind of, like, if we don't have the answer, we certainly will go and find the answer for them. And that's how we got our ELRC on board. They tried to have meetings at the same time and it wasn't working. And so the woman that runs the department, she said, "That can we connect?" So now she's on every month with us, giving us stuff that's going on in the state, so that she doesn't miss anyone as well.
What's that?
Wonderful. Thanks. I
They
think
don't
we're
see
gonna take our break. We're gonna
Okay,
keep
thank you.
moving, but
Everyone have a
thank you
great
so much,
afternoon.
Diane and Adrian. So appreciate you being here. So powerful and helpful. And
All right,
as
thank you,
always, thank
Karen.
you, Karen, for connecting.
Thank you for having us.
That's
So if you want to just come back at 9:55, we'll go ahead and get back into it.
We're gonna move into the next part of our agenda once we have everybody back. Looks like everyone's coming back. But this is where we're going to just have a large group conversation and some brainstorming, really leaning into benchmark D, which is focused on wraparound supports for providers, and how I interpret just really humanizing the experience. I loved how our guests were talking about recognizing providers as humans, and we have needs too. I think it gets forgotten sometimes. So I'm going to go over our instructions here. So we have heard from a number of hubs that you'd like to hear more about services being offered by networks around the state, especially related to how funds are being allocated. This activity that we're going to do with the Jamboard will be an opportunity for you to hear firsthand from each of the hubs here what strategies are being used and spur thinking around new ideas for the networks you support. At the end of the session, we will have this Jamboard to share out to the group with at least 9 ideas, along with information about which hub you can contact if you would like to discuss more. We can also determine if we want to extend this conversation outside of the PLC today and continue brainstorming together as an option. And so here are our instructions for this little activity. So each organization will share out one strategy or service that they are using to support the well-being of their network members. We want you to share what the strategy is, how you came to realize that this support was needed, and what implications there are to your budget, or how are you using your budget to support that service or activity. So we want each hub to have an opportunity to share out. So when we do your share out, just be mindful that we only have about 2 or 3 minutes. We're paying attention to time. Again, we could probably easily fill 2.5 hours or 3 hours. And after the presentations are done, we're gonna do a reflection in the chat where we're reflecting on what is one strategy that resonated as one that would support providers in your specific network community. What was a strategy that resonated with you? So that's just a high level overview of what we're getting into. Kelly is going to be sharing the Jamboard and taking notes. And Kelly, do we just want to give a few minutes for some thinking on this? I think like maybe like 2 or 3 minutes just to kind of
Sure.
think about
Fine.
what we
Yeah.
want to share out. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
that
that's
sounds
neat.
great. Yep.
Okay. So
Perfect.
here are the questions that we're asking, and we'll give a couple minutes just for some thought, and then we'll get started with each organization sharing out. I'll just let Kelly finish up getting you all represented here on our little sticky notes, and then happy to have one of our hubs share out with who is ever ready to do that.
I would be ready.
Kelly, are you ready? All right, we're ready. Let's go.
Okay. So this is Family Child Care Networks Northwest, so United Way, Northwest Michigan. And as an inclusion activity at one of our network meetings for the large group that meets in Traverse City, we asked a question. Thinking about your own self-care, what is something you would like the network to do to support you? And then we asked people to just write it on a sticky note and leave it on the wall as they left. So it was kind of it was an inclusion activity, but it was also their ticket out when they left at the end of that meeting. So then we compiled all of their suggestions and looked to see where the trends are. And the things that have emerged that they need or that they would like to have is a handyman and house cleaning, followed by time for meditation or to go to the gym or just some kind of regularly scheduled time just for themselves, away from children. So we at the United Way, we have these volunteers called the Tuesday Toolmen, who they're mainly retired fellows who are very handy. So we're looking at how we might be able to have the Tuesday Toolmen be available to help with projects that providers need done at their homes. And we're also we're going to ask the group if they currently have any or have used any handy persons, if they have used any house cleaners, if we could reach out to them and then negotiate a rate that's fair to those people, and then potentially create a way for home-based providers to sign up and get these services that they need. So it's a small step, but it's responding to direct asks from them. Not sure about the gym memberships at this point. But we're still noodling on that idea.
Mary, thank you so much. That's so powerful in so many different ways. And I love how naturally it came together for you. I think the key is you lean into relationships and what people need, and things come together. Who's next? Who would love to share? Sebastian, go ahead.
All right. So for us, one thing that came out frequently in the in our groups, and so we have 4 groups, and one thing that came out a lot was interactions with parents being very difficult. Specifically around for one of our groups that was specifically around child behaviors and child development. So we, in order to focus on that directly, we found training resources around communication was one of the big ones, like how to communicate in a way that like keeps you, the provider, in a position of, agency and power, because it's your business, you are the, the expert there. But of course, the parents are extremely important. And so navigating that was something that we did as a training. And then the other one that was quite powerful, or we have one coming up this weekend that we're very excited about. This is like a external partnership that we're working on with the Autism Alliance. And they actually have somebody who speaks Arabic. So our Washtenaw Arabic providers are going to be able to have that training in their native language. And we are opening that up. So this kind of relates here. We heard a lot about the need for, especially with our Washtenaw Arabic group, for family members, people who like work in the home business, to be able to attend as well. And so from a budgetary standpoint, we needed to be sort of creative about, okay, we have this money allocated for sort of the licensed designee. We thought we were going to have 20 people. We've been amazed at how many people really want to take part in these. And so we've had to be creative about ways that we can have people still benefit from the training. Like changing our room layouts, letting people bring folks. And it's made things really wonderful when it comes to the deeper discussions, because people, even within one home context, see things very differently or have different roles. And that's what we have been working on.
Thank you, Sebastian.
I have a quick clarifying question, Sebastian, around that. And I think I might have missed it in my fog, but did you say that you also are opening the training up to families who are, or for families?
No. So
No.
The trainings that we've done so far, it's not like off the table for us, but the trainings
Yeah.
that we've done so far, where we're opening it up are family members who work in the home childcare. So they either support the business side of things. So we're inviting, like when we do like a tax training or something, we will invite the people who in the home who feel best equipped to take that on. And same thing here on this side of things, if they have an assistant who is, their adult child, and it's really relevant for them to get the same training, we've made sure that we open it out so that they can have those discussions in the meeting, like all together, because like it makes the most sense for them to have that training together at the same time.
Thank you, Sebastian. But Kelly, good thought. Love the idea of like a combined provider, parent, PD.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. All right. Who wants to go next?
I'll go ahead.
Okay. Thank you.
So one of the, again, just like everybody, just kind of taking a survey from the providers. So we really gathered the information from them and the sticky notes. A lot of the same concerns was, time away so that they can get time off. And so we came up with a substitute provider. You know, we're thinking of doing a substitute pool. One of our, and how it came about, I guess I'll do it in the order of your question. The service support that's being offered was a substitute provider. So we tried it with one of the providers that are still in process. We have her clearance on file. We have her TB test. One of our providers is due in a month, and she really needed to get to an appointment. She called me and asked me, and I said, let me ask, you know, Salam. Salam and Ru'a are both of the same culture, the language, the religion. So there's that sense of trust and cultural connection. So I asked her, and then we offered her $25 an hour. Luckily, it was within our budget that we had allocated for contractors. So we thought that would be something really good for us to do, is to, you know, use some of those funds to create like a substitute pool of like culturally and linguistically responsive substitutes, because every area and every demographic is different. And providers, they're inviting people in their home. You know, they want to know that they can trust the background is, you know, clearance is done, the TB. Like she mentioned earlier, Mary mentioned earlier, you know, if they want to get to the gym, if they have a doctor's appointment, their business would still, you know, be open and running. And then we had mentioned that maybe it might be at least once a month they're still popping in, so that there's still that connection and that relationship with the children and a familiar face and a short bio, so that the families know there is a substitute in place. So we really thought that was really a good service. We have one that's going out next week for 3 hours for her, like 2.5 hours. She's really excited of the fact that she can get some help to just step to the side, do her paperwork, just go lay down, you know, being the fact that she's, you know, due in a month or so. So that's something that I think is going to really help a lot of the providers. And we're really intentional. We're all intentional about the work that we're doing. We're intentional about getting representation of all. And that's what I really like about Child Care Network as well, and many of you. Let's just be more intentional to have representation of every community and what their needs are. Thank you.
Thank you, Najwa. And Kristen mentioned in the chat wanting to get connected because they're working on some substitute pool too. And as soon as you said sub pool, I'm like, woo, I have had this conversation 20,000 times. So if you figure out how to crack the code on substitute pool, I know there are a whole lot of people that would love to hear from you. So thank you for sharing. Who would like to go next?
I'll go ahead and go.
Well, I mean,
was somebody saying something? Apologies if my son is talking in the background. So I'll talk a little bit about the attachment to the network. So I'm excited to share that we had our first advisory committee meeting right before the Thanksgiving holiday. So so our program works with cultural and language diverse providers. We've been around for a while, but we've never had the opportunity and funding to have an advisory committee. So we started that committee with 6 individuals from within our provider network, and they represent the diverse cultures and languages, so that they are really going to be the voice of what our priorities and our focus is going forward. Not that we haven't incorporated their voice in the past, we do that just organically, but this was intentional. This was making sure that there was that cultural and language representation. And so we have 6 individuals that agreed to be part of that committee, and we met the week before Thanksgiving, and it was so exciting to see their enthusiasm and to hear their ideas. And we're really, really excited about what doors that's going to open up for our program. We've talked, as you mentioned, with substitute pool and all these various things. We've talked about those things But we want to make sure we're prioritizing our limited resources on what they really need and want and desire for the network. So we did have the funding allocated for that in our FCCN budget. And just really excited to see that work go forward. And we do have interpretation provided for those meetings as well.
Thank you, Kim. And to everybody who's presented so far, thank you all so much for being so intentional about answering each of these questions. Thank you. All right, who would love to go next? First Steps, Southwest CCR, Arbor Circle.
I can go, Nicole.
Thanks.
Let me. Oh, okay. One of the strategies we've taken is making a connection with Opportunity Thrive to come and do a session with the group. And this happened prior, and the group would like to also see her back, but then also with some just other pieces, but really around and we have put funding towards that for that to happen again. And so the goal is for that to happen, especially in the new year. And but one of the things that became so important in her time with them was really around, we like to use self-care so much, but she really has stressed with them self-love, and not just self-care. And so and really grounded the group and us around even our own stories. And so that intentional relationship part. And then the other strategy piece is with our project coordinator, with a list of really quick contact questions when she's calling them, to really include self-care and needs around and their needs, not just for themselves, but for also their families, to connect them to resources, but to do that in a very one-on-one kind of way. So those are all pieces that are progressing. And we had put money towards that.
Thank you so much for sharing. All right. And I think we've got the Opportunity Thrive link in the chat for you all. Who else would like to go? We've got Vibrant Futures, Southwest CCR, Arbor Circle, Kent ISD.
You can go next if you want us to.
Sounds great. Thanks, Aubrey.
Yeah. So we knew when we originally did our survey with providers when we were recruiting that wellness was a big topic for them. So we kind of hit the ground running with that, knowing that that was something that they were really interested in. So we had 1 month, because we do monthly meetings with all of our different hubs, our different networks. So we had wellness as one of those like specific trainings. We had a fantastic trainer who's come in and she talks about a bunch of different wellness strategies and things she can do. One of the things that we allocated early in our budget is that for every one of our meetings, we have what we call high quality learning materials. And we've been able to allocate that based on what they're learning in that meeting. So for the wellness one, they were able to receive different things depending on what the network wanted, but we've had some journals, we've had some other items. This month, we heard from providers for wellness how expensive food is, especially our license exempt providers. And so we're doing food baskets for them, for their families, and really trying to alleviate some of that stress with it too. We're coordinating that, but really we've been trying to listen to what they need and what will help alleviate some of their stress and what are some things they'd like to implement. And also we did a wellness fair. So really CCR has been like trying to work on that with all of our providers. And we had FCCN, we had a great representation from FCCN at our wellness fair too. And we had about 20 different vendors that came to that, and they talked to them about there was from Bronson, from Borges, different types of like massage. We had prizes for them, Fitbits. It was a really cool event, and we had a great turnout from FCCN too. So we're really excited. We have a lot of different things going for them.
Thank you, Aubrey. It sounds like CCR is diving head into wellness as an entire organization, which is exciting. All right, Vibrant Futures or Arbor Circle or GSQ?
I can go. Oh, I can go next from Vibrant Futures if that
Thanks,
works.
Yep, thanks, Barbara.
So we've done a few different things with the group as a whole, but with our advisory committee, one thing that was brought up is just, you know, the chance to participate in a retreat and have some leadership opportunities. So we're going to do an overnight retreat with the advisory committee, and we have built that in to our budget. And we're going to have an overnight stay that's going to include some self-care and some opportunity to just relax and be with the community, and then also to learn some leadership. And it's going to be led by a consultant who's going to do some leadership building, some governance opportunities to build the advisory group, because it's a brand new group, so we can kind of set forth to go forward from there. And then also we have invited the providers to take their families with them to the hotel if they want to include them, because there will be downtime if they want to have a little getaway. So that's kind of what we're working on right now with our advisory group.
Thank you, Barbara. That almost brings me to tears. You know, I think about my professors, and when they get to travel to do whatever, they take their families with them, and to have a home provider be recognized as such a professional that their families get to travel with them, like that's so powerful. Thank you so much for
it's just like you said, it's just to build them as professionals and to have these unique opportunities that they wouldn't have any other time. So we're really excited about it.
And we're also doing the same thing going into the retreat for professional development for all of the folks in our network. That overnight stay going into the summit, that would include about 70 folks in our network.
It's just humanizing the experience. Like, why wouldn't we allow them to bring their families with them, right? I love how this group is just working on shifting that thought process. So, all right, let's keep it going. I'm so excited. So we got GSQ and Arbor Circle, it looks like.
I'll go ahead for Arbor Circle. And we're doing something a bit similar to Vibrant Futures. We created retreat experience for all of our networks, and we're doing it towards the end of the network experience, hoping that we have relationships built and they trust to be in that retreat experience, and it will be all self-care focused. It will also be at a location that is more home-like, Airbnb kind of style, so that they can feel a little more special, like you guys were saying. And then for their specific interest was a lot on mental health and those kinds of things, as we have children and families and themselves recovering from the last few years. So we've been bringing in our social emotional consultants and our mental health experts to do some couple-hour trainings during their network meetings on a monthly basis as well. And then our license exempt provider group, their needs obviously are a bit different. And so when we talked to them about self-care, they just identified like even being able to treat themselves with the average self-care items that we would think, like really nice smelling lotion and just anything to take care of yourself. So we are building self-care baskets for them that have those extra special items to make them feel like they can have a little bit of a spa day experience at home.
Thank you so much, Crystal, for sharing. All right. We've got Kent, I believe is our last.
Yep, I can go.
Thanks, Carrie-Ann.
Yep. So we started similar to everyone else with the surveys. Also something kind of unique is that we're in partnership with Vibrant Futures. So after doing the surveys, a lot of the needs Vibrant Futures could do in the meetings. So they've been able, well, we're still in the process, but they'll be doing some business and taxes. They've been able to go over the food program. They've been able to talk about their Little Learners program. So some of the programs that have been helpful to the providers and what is needed for them. And then also in our budget, we have money for trainers. So we have somebody, a therapist coming in, and then also hoping to have another trainer come in, kind of to talk about the effects of TV and technology. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now.
Thank you for sharing, Carrie-Ann. And you know what I was thinking as I'm looking at this board, which is really powerful to see all of this visually, is if I was a home provider thinking about quitting, you know, because it's just too much, like, and I was surrounded by this, I would be like, I've got to reconsider this. I've got all the support. Look at all these people coming here. It feels like a collective triage, like our guests that came and spoke with us. So just so excited to see how this all develops out with you. And as we mentioned, this is going to be this Jamboard will be a resource for you. And also we can continue this conversation. It doesn't have to stop here. If you're interested, then, you know, that's really great. The kind of feedback to give us in our surveys, like, hey, yes, we want more Jamboard, or we want to keep talking about this topic. So we don't have a lot of time, but we do have updates, and I do want to make sure that I save space for Barbara with Vibrant Futures to talk about an event they have coming up. So really quickly, I want to just read through some next steps. So just in relation to sustainability, you all have continuously brought that up, as how do we keep this going? And just as a reminder that we have legislation for FCCN in Michigan that directly aligns with the benchmarks. We did that on purpose. There are specific things in the legislation that FCCNs must do, including recruitment, business supports, peer connection, quality supports. And at the end of this pilot period, the department will submit an annual report on the activities and outcomes of each family child care network by region. So the legislators will be looking at the what, how many providers are a part of the network, did they get access to more resources, and how did the network sustain their businesses? So
I'll jump into Nicole. I wanted to share something that we developed for you all, thinking about educating legislators on this this wonderful family child care network project that we have, that you all are doing. So I wanted to share quickly that fact sheet that we have that we will be sharing out with the legislators who were involved in the Family Child Care Network legislation. So let me just go ahead and quickly screen share that with you. And I will plan on putting this into the share drive with you all. You are welcome to share, to use. It is ready to go, and we are really excited about it. So let me pull that up right now. Can you all see it? No, you can't. Here we go. Okay. So here is the fact sheet that we created that ECIC will be using in communicating and educating legislators about family child care networks. What you'll notice, and what we really wanted to point out to you all, is the intentionality around the language that we are using in that they are home-based childcare businesses, right? Because there are so many resources out there for small businesses that historically family child care providers have not had access to. And this is something that that we are really going to be pushing, this language around you know, home-based childcare businesses. So I wanted to just quickly show this to you all. Let me just scroll down. We worked with our policy team on this. So we had folks with the policy team had an eye on it. Really everyone in ECIC had an eye on it. So here's that for you. Like I said, feel free to distribute this, to use this when you're talking to your partners. I will put it in the share drive for you all. And we will continue to have conversations around this in the future. But no, this is like a big step for us in sustainability of the project. And I hope that you all are excited about this this fact sheet, and we'll share it. I think those are the main points I wanted to talk to you about today, but we can continue talking about it more in our progress meetings. And if you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out. Barbara, do you want to quickly give your plug?
Sure. So for any childcare provider, home-based or center, if they have applied for the facilities improvement grants, there are some tax implications that are coming up if they have not finished their projects in 2023, where they'll be having to report the income, whether it's $50,000 or $150,000 per center, but they will not have the expenses to go against that. So we're having 2 webinars with a tax professional. The first one is tonight. And then we have another one on December 12th. They're basically the same. It will be a PowerPoint presentation. Any childcare provider is welcome to attend to hear how things are going to be. There is a potential workaround that facilities that IFF has offered if they have not already signed their grant agreement, because at this point, it's going to be very hard to get any type of project finished before the end of the year. So I can send the flyer to Nicole or Kelly, and if they want to send the flyer out to everyone, on the flyer is the link to register for either of the Zooms. Again, the first one's tonight at 6:30, and then the next one is December 12th at 6:30, and they run for an hour. The tax professional will go through her slides, and then she will take questions. But again, it's mainly dealing with the taxes and the implications of accepting the facilities improvement grant if your project has not been completed and you have all the expenses to write off on that income. So just trying to help, because it's going to be a little messy for some people.
Much, Barbara. So. I will go ahead. I know that you or Sinead or Barbara, you already sent that to everyone. So thank you. I will go ahead and just resend it so it's at the top of everyone's email. Mary, I did see that you were hoping to get some more language around what Nicole was summarizing, so we can also get that for you too, no problem. And I'll send that all out to you along with that flyer, which I'll share in the shared drive as well.
Nicole was just so super succinct in what she said that I would love to be able to share that with everybody in my organization so they can all be on the same page too. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just want to quickly give a shout out to Kelly. I was strictly reading her script. So thank you, Mary, though. Well, thank you all so much. We've got the link for the post-meeting survey in there. I mean, we definitely read what you have to say. So give us your feedback so we can improve for next time. And thank you all so much. We'll be in touch soon.